So I'm taking this quick read from the cable newspaper. Um, this is responding to the current state of things in Nigeria, where the president yesterday suspended um, the River State government, including the legislature. So it's suspended two arms of the government, the legislature and the executive, and then he gave rulership or governance to sole administrator in a retired admiral. But historically, you would see that Nigerians have always never wanted something like this to happen in this context. And Tinubu did exactly the same thing to Obasanjo and to Jonathan. Obasanjo in 2004 and Jonathan in 2013. You remember that period when there was election coming up and there was serious crisis and headsmen killing and all that? And Jonathan did a state of emergency and Tinubu condemned it vehemently. So let's just get right into the news. This is just a reminder to Nigerians that this current government, as we've said over and over and over again, is not fit for purpose. Now, the other thing I also should mention is this. Let us make sure we keep our eyes on this government and let us don't change the narrative. The narrative also still remains the fact that President Bola Tinubu is a terrible president and his government is a terrible government. So we need to keep that tag going on because part of this whole thing is to change the narrative. Part of this whole suspension of River State government is also to prep themselves ready for 2027 because they need the resource of River State as they did in 2023. Okay. But if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, subscribe. And also for those who have seen this content several times, are yet to channel and are yet to subscribe, please do so we can keep calling out government out for the bad administration and also push for a better country that we all want in Nigeria. So it says President Bola Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State has reignited scrutiny of his criticism of actions carried out by Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria's former president. Tinubu on Tuesday declared a state of emergency in Rivers following the persistent political crisis and instability in the state. The president also suspended Siminalayi Fubara, the governor of Rivers, Ngozi Odu, his deputy, and the members of the state assembly. He also nominated Ibok Ete Ibas, a retired vice admiral, as the state's administrator. The president said the administrator will manage the state without enacting new laws, but may issue regulations subject to Federal Executive Council approval and presidential promulgation. Tinubu said the judicial arm of the Rivers State remains unaffected and will continue its constitutional duties. The president's decision has attracted a public backlash given his previous stance against the imposition of emergency rule by his predecessors, Obasanjo and Jonathan. As a vocal political figure, Tinubu frequently condemned what he viewed as the federal government's overreach in wielding emergency powers. In 2004, Tinubu, then governor of Lagos, fiercely opposed Obasanjo's imposition of a state of emergency in Plateau State on May 18. Obasanjo's declaration followed months of brutal ethno-religious clashes between Christian and Muslim communities in Jos, the state capital, and the surrounding areas, leaving over 2,000 dead and displacing thousands. Now, see the reason for the suspension of the declaration of emergency in Plateau State. Okay. Obasanjo has suspended Joshua Darie, the Plateau governor at the time, and the state assembly, and appointed Chris Ali, a retired general, major general, as sole administrator for 6 months. Tinubu condemned the move as an assault on Nigeria's federal structure, arguing that it stripped Plateau of his democratic rights without exhausting dialogue or state level solutions. Can you see that? So Tinubu's case was when he was making his declaration yesterday, he was saying, "Oh, after I reached out to him and he couldn't come with a solution, I reached out to him." So he was trying to play down this line here that he reached out to Fubara and Wike, the parties involved, and that's why he's taking over. It's unfortunate and illegal. This has to be discouraged. It is a bad precedent. What the president of the country has done, I pray it doesn't stand. Tinubu was quoted to have said this in 2004. Remember, all of or most parts of Tinubu's presidency had problem with Obasanjo. So if you follow the historical records at the time, you realize that even at that time, there was a case where the allocation for Lagos there was also withheld, and that obviously cost them a lot of quarrels to the both of them. So in 2013, Tinubu, a leading voice in the opposition on APC, criticized Jonathan's state of emergency declaration of Imbono, Yobe, and Adamawa state on May 14. The measure came as the Boko Haram insurgency intensified, with bombings, abductions, and territorial seizures, overwhelming local security forces in 3 states. Though unlike Obasanjo, Jonathan retained the elected governors. Kashim Shettima, who is the current vice president of Nigeria, Ibrahim Geldam, and Murtala Nyako, but imposed dusk to dawn curfews, deployed heavy military presence, and granted security forces sweeping powers. Tinubu slammed the decision as an unpardonable mediocrity that bypassed constitutional checks, warning that it risks turning the Northeast into a militarized zone under federal control. Please, can anyone tell me what Tinubu did yesterday that is not a semblance of what we just read here now? He was calling for a declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State. As he was calling for that state of emergency, there were military guys getting into Rivers State, seizing the House of Assembly, the governors' areas. He said that the declaration Jonathan had intimidated and emasculated the governors, adding that the action had scuttled the constitutional functions of the governors and elected officials in 3 states. Let all those who love this country genuinely advise the federal government not to tinker with the mandates of these governors under any guise. It is potentially destructive path to take, he wrote at the time. So let us stop here for a second. This is what Tinubu said. Let all those who love this country genuinely advise the federal government not to tinker with the mandates of these governors under any guise. It is potentially destructive a path to take, he wrote at the time. So please tell me why we're not telling Tinubu the same thing right now. Or rather, I know legal scholars are already doing the same thing right now. This is everything he wrote is done. Hiding under some nebulous claims that border on the interactability of the security challenges posed by Boko Haram or some acclaimed traditionalists who have killed some policemen to render ineffective the constitutional powers vested in elected governors and other representatives of the people, perceived as not amendable to manipulation for 2015 project, amounts to reducing serious issues bordering on the survival of the country to partisan politics. Tinubu's criticism were rooted in his advocacy for federalism and autonomy for state government. No governor of a state in Nigeria is the chief security officer, putting the blame on the governors, who have been effectively emasculated for the abysmal performance of the government at the center, which controls all the security agencies. Marks of ignorance and mischief, is said as opposition leader in 2013. Please tell me if this is not literally Tinubu told us what he is in 2013. No governor of a state is the chief security officer. That's what he said. No governor of a state in Nigeria is the chief executive security officer, putting the blame on the governors who have been effectively emasculated for the abysmal performance of the government at the center. So who is the government at the center right now? Tinubu's government. So he's telling us ahead in 2013 that his government in 2025 will be abysmal, and it has been already. The president's pronouncement, which seeks to abridge or has the potential to totally scuttling the constitutional functions of governors and other elected representatives of the people, will be counterproductive in the long run. In 2005, Tinubu, as governor, vowed to defend the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lagos against the tyranny of the federal government. He also accused Jonathan of using the insurgency as a pretext to weaken opposition strongholds in the north, where the APC was gaining traction. Now, as president, Tinubu's emergency declaration in Rivers State mirrors the actions he once strongly condemned. Now, I say this again. Did Tinubu not just tell us in 2013 what his presidency will be like? Tinubu told us in 2013 his presidency will be abysmal. And exactly 12 years later, Tinubu has become so abysmal. So I'm actually saying this. Reading through this news, everything that he condemned in 2013, in 2004, is exactly what he's done in 2025. And everything points towards 2027. This state of emergency that he has called for River State, I am of the opinion they will take it one step forward. I'm of the opinion that when this 6 months is over, if the National Assembly does not nullify it, if the Supreme Court does not call that unconstitutional, by the time this 6 months is over, I'm telling you, they would have found a way to get Fubara out. They would have said that he mismanaged funds. They would have found a way to get the lawmakers to come in and impeach him without even giving him time. I'm telling you. And they would drag the case on to 2027. So by the time we're doing the election, Fubara will not have enough to do, and Nigeria will not have enough. Nigerians will not have enough to do. They would have rigged the election by that time. Everything points towards 2027. Everything actually smells of Wike's handiwork. The smell and the dirt of corruption is all over this expulsion. Now, I'm not a Wike or Fubara supporter, neither of them. I think these two guys made some unholy and ungodly agreement in the middle of the night. One to be governor, the other one to get some part of the state resources to use for his personal mission for 2031. I'm talking about Wike. And when that doesn't work out the way he wants it, there's this fallout. All this crisis is not about River State. All this crisis is about the selfish ambition of two people who cannot find common ground. So again, if you're watching this for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. We're just saying clearly what we're currently seeing in River State is just an agreement between two people, greedy people, who thought about themselves and what they wanted to gain from a political system or from a state. And now it hasn't worked out the way they planned it initially. And now one who is the godfather and the other one is the godson are now fighting. And now their overwrought godfather, who is the president of the country, is now taking the weird instinct of both of them and then he seized power in that state. So the same way Tinubu condemned Jonathan and Obasanjo, Nigerians need to condemn it as well. It's exactly what he said. It's abysmal. And in 2015, 2025, Tinubu has now shown us how abysmal his current government is. As always, if you've not subscribed yet, please do so. And if you're meeting this content for the first time, please do subscribe, share, like, and comment. Tell us what you think when you look at this news that we've just read to you, comparing Tinubu's comment in 2015 and 2013 and 2004 as against what he's done in 2025. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye for now.